Daly Joe podcast.
Bam! We're back, baby. Welcome to the Daly Joe podcast, right here in Willimantic, Connecticut. How are you doing today, Joe?
Thanks for the cup of Joe. I'm ready to roll. We got a topic for you. I think it's a good one. Third places. And I don't mean like the bronze medal.
No.
I mean like it's not, you're not at home, you're not at work, but you want to go somewhere. And where do you go?
Where do you go?
We want to talk a little bit about third places, define what it is.
Well, if you got some money, Joe, you can get just about anywhere.
Even that's not the same, though, and we can talk about why. And then where might we have third places in this town, Wyndham?
Oh, okay. So a third place, just to be clear, when you're talking about it, it's a place where you can go and meet a friend. Anybody could go and meet a friend. It's kind of like a neutral ground. It's not like, it's not like you're going into a restaurant or some place that has their own set of rules. Although you could go to lots of coffee shops and have that kind of casual conversation, but you have to have some money. You got to be able to bring that. So not everybody wants to spend money or has money. Okay.
It should be a place where like anybody feels comfortable to come in, no matter if you're rich or poor or
black or white,
what your persuasion is,
gay or straight. Just an open, welcoming place in our community.
It's easy, it's easy to like go there, have conversations. Maybe you see people. If you go there regularly, you see other people that are regular. It's you feel welcomed enough. Maybe you come in there, you bring somebody in, and you have sort of these chance conversations, and it's a way to just kind of mix up things a little bit and create connections that you might not have otherwise. Or maybe you're just going there to read a book or play on your phone, but it's an easy place to hang out, and
no one's gonna look at you funny for being there.
Exactly.
It's like, this is where we all go.
You might, if you were a regular, you might think of it kind of as a home away from home. You don't know what to do with yourself. Well, this is getting into the why a little bit, but these places are important for helping us to build connection to our town, to each other, to help ward off loneliness.
Sure. Yeah.
It's just, and like all the cool towns have these places, little alleys.
Those cool towns.
Little benches, artwork, places to hang out. And maybe it's more amenable outside in warmer weather.
So just to clarify, are we talking about a park?
Yeah, that's you would think a park could play that role, but I think one of the things about a park is there's so much distance that everybody's spread out, so you're not getting sort of the intensity. I think you want something a little more intimate, a little more like Starbucks without the expense and requirement of having to buy a $6.
Gotcha. Okay, so the library, but without the quiet.
Library, right? You're gonna get shushed down.
You're gonna get shushed.
And let's say you had some.
You're gonna get shushed. The library is pretty incredible. Like now, when you go in, because I spend a lot of time there. Yes, you got to be quiet in that initial area, but the community room in the back, does have a lot of really engaging activities and things there. I do know you can book it, but again, it's not like I think what you're talking about, a third space. You can go anytime. Well, I guess within reason, right?
Right.
But, almost any time and just be, right? You don't have to pre-book it. You don't have to pre-plan. It's a place where people congregate to participate in their community.
That's right. I think about, I don't know, some of the big cities, they might have a fountain and, in that area you see, if you were in New York City, like Washington Square,
Yeah.
You just see all these different people. Now, granted, that's a big city and there are lots of people. And so you have that kind of urban density that can create that sort of spot.
I think of like when I was traveling down in the Caribbean and some South American countries, there's the plaza.
The plaza.
And right, it's a big park, but also kind of lining the park are all these different shops and businesses, which I know we talked about not bringing money, but having those amenities make it so that they're accessible to people if they want to buy some food or drink or toy or something to then use in that park space that's right there. So you don't go down there thinking, oh, I better have money for this. You go down to there to enjoy the space. Having those businesses available certainly does lend to making that space more accessible for different people for whatever they want. They have that choice. So it's not one thing, it's whatever they
right. I'm gonna grab my cup of coffee from one of the places and go sit down out there.
Yeah. And if you bring a Frisbee, then that's all you need.
That's right.
So I don't know, I really liked going and visiting those plazas. I'm trying to think if we have anything like that in town. We have our parks, but there's no the best I can think is like the DQ and Memorial Park, right?
Yeah,
I'll get ice cream and go to the park.
That seems like it has some potential.
It's a little bit of a tricky road to cross, and then you got to go by that gas station, right? Jeans Mart, or now I don't know if it's still called Jeans there.
I think you're hitting on one thing is that it needs to be easy to get into and out of.
Well, that's what's great about the plazas. Those businesses are right on the periphery. I mean, you don't cross anything to get there. They're there.
You know, I'm not sure which comes first. You know, do you have the businesses and then try to create a space where the businesses are, or does creating the space, you know, somehow if, you know, Memorial Park were redesigned to some degree, would all the perimeter spaces now become desirable to build businesses? I mean, a lot of times, and I know Strong Towns talks about this, with like one of the purposes of having a park is to build wealth on the perimeter.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah. Like, everybody wants to live next to the park.
Right.
Businesses want to be near the park.
Right.
And you don't do a park unless that's going to happen.
Interesting. I have never heard that, but it makes so much sense. And when I think about Memorial Park, it's really not that, because it's right on the main strip of traffic, right? It's a state road that runs through there. And then, the businesses near it, I think like there's edible arrangements, I guess. But there's no business besides DQ that I can think about that you could just walk to and get something that then you can walk back and enjoy in the park.
Yeah, I mean, the road, Main Street right there, is much less hospitable than Main Street right in downtown. Like as bad as it is to try to cross with the lights, you know, the walks that make you wait forever, and that unending number of trucks screaming by downtown. Like that's like the biggest negative about downtown Willimantic. Yet that's a lot easier to navigate than once you cross the bridge.
Yeah.
Once you cross the bridge,
it's understood that area is for cars.
Now you're in car world. Like, screw you people. Like, you don't even get a crosswalk to go across to Cumberland Farms.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you ever try to cross there? Sometimes, you know, I've tried a couple times with a 2 and 3 year old.
Yeah.
And we're waiting for at least 5 minutes, maybe more. And it's not
still
safe,
a run, right? You're still
it's very wide.
Run.
It's horribly engineered for
someone that wants to run across to Cumberland's, get a hot dog,
or to take advantage of the park,
or coffee,
and to make
the
park seem like a comfortable third space.
Right.
And so, you know.
So now to enjoy the park, you've got to drive there.
You got to drive
or
there.
Else.
Yeah.
And if you want anything along the way, you better stop and get it first, because once you're there, it's hard to just walk out and walk back.
And I think some people will look at the park and say, "Well, yeah, you know, it's like drug dealers and homeless people. You know, I've heard that criticized, but I think that's what happens in the absence of other features.
Yeah.
So if the traffic were slowed down, if the road were thinned, if we added some other features into the park, you know, we organized more events so that it, you know, had more like food trucks in there, or whatever it takes to make that.
The food trucks will come if you have the people there.
Right.
Right. So
that could be a big third space.
Yeah. You know, the Friends of the Willimantic Library put on an awesome, I think once a year they do it. Where they have music, they do the bounce houses, there's food trucks, and they have authors that write children's books.
There was a big bunny and another.
Oh, they do the Easter egg hunt there.
The Easter egg hunt, yeah. And Vivian, she's 4. She still talks about like the 2 characters that were dressed up in the big Easter bunny outfits. Like, when are you going to see them again?
Yeah.
So it made a big impression on her. So yeah, there are activities that we could do in there, but it has to be kind of like the thinking, or like that's now pretty typical at Jilson. Mm-hmm. Bringing in events and finding events. I think there has to be something to pump up Memorial in order to sort of turn that into a third place that people would go to.
Well, I think this brings us back to the original topic, because now we're getting into events and things, which is fine, but that's not really what a third place is, right? We're talking about a place that you can go to whenever, not just when a lot of effort goes into orchestrating an event there, because when the event's not there, that space is
that's what Jilson is, right? Like it's not like Jilson.
We got that at Jilson.
Like I wonder if these event places that are public event places really could be, transformed so that when they're not in an event state, it's a place where people are going to and feeling comfortable, and it's a place to be seen and see people and
I think our Main Street does lend. Like, I think we're on the cusp of Jilson could be a third place, as far as, you can get a slice of pizza from Trigo. You can get a taco burrito from Cordoba's down there. Mm-hmm. There's an ice cream place coming in, I think I heard, down there. So you could have that kind of atmosphere. We do have benches. We do have some nice planters and everything right there. I think there could be a little more separation between the street and the sidewalk, but the sidewalk's pretty wide there as well. So I actually think that is an awesome spot. It is pretty high traffic for cars, but I think maybe just some more division between the road and the sidewalk. You could do a few bushes or more planters there.
I agree.
And that's probably the smallest change I think you could make. The businesses are already there. It's a little bit more of a walk than like the plaza, where they're right on the periphery, but that comes to mind as a good spot.
Our last podcast, weren't we talking about 804 Main in that space?
Yeah, 804 Main. Well, that'd be amazing.
So there.
But that's not the next smallest step. But
to kind of get that to become a place, you'd have to get some benches in there. You'd have to maybe do some kind of grading. I don't know if this, but I really like the idea of that space becoming a third place. Mm-hmm. I think that would be really easy for people to get to, easier than either Jilson or Memorial.
Right. Yeah.
It's smaller and cozier, so you don't get sort of what is that, agoraphobia, the fear of wide open spaces.
Oh yeah, like you might get at Jilson.
Or any big park. You don't get that. We need some cozy.
Yeah, cozy third places.
I think maybe that's the answer to the parks.
And would you say like having a pavilion's important in these spaces? Yeah. So that it can be all weather in a sense? Yeah. I mean, you can't do much about the cold. But you could have a pavilion there. Yeah. I mean, I think 804, we talked about in the last podcast, so I don't know how much you want to get into it, but I feel very much in favor of that. I think that would be amazing. Yeah.
But I think, what are the elements, even if you went back to, 804, if you went back and said, okay, well, what would that need to actually, work as, I think there's sort of a science to these third places. It certainly would be neutral. It'd be sort of a level play. Like anybody, any walk of life would feel okay there. Mm-hmm.
Conversation space.
Low profile.
You can't have loud traffic if you can't, you can't have a conversation there.
But you can see the walls getting painted up to make it playful.
So maybe having some structures to jump around for, you don't need a full on playscape necessarily, but a play area for for younger families and kids to run around.
I think just the idea though,
feel
that
welcome there too.
it's like, we should say, okay, where depending on where you live, like where are the third places? And so for downtown, we're talking about downtown, but
right.
Ultimately,
it'd be good to have one in each neighborhood.
Exactly.
Oh, well, let's talk neighborhoods on our next podcast, because I think Willimantic has some really niched out spaces, around it, that some of them have little spaces that could be used, maybe, and promoted more as those spaces.
I think that's a good topic.
That's really cool. I'm glad you said that.
You want to wrap this one up?
Yeah, just I guess a recap, because we danced around a lot, which was great. I learned a lot about third spaces, so a third space is just anywhere you can go, not necessarily have to spend money, but feel welcome and know that if you called a friend to come hang out there, they would feel welcome too.
That's right.
So a neutral ground, you can have a conversation, meet your friends, have a playful, good time, and can feel like a home away from home, which that's, I think, pretty cool for your community.
I'm going to go there. See you there.
I'll see you there. Nice.
And we'll see you on the next podcast.
Very cool. This is the Daly Joe. Have a great day.
Ribbit.
Cheers.